Alrighty, hey, we are back and we're gonna get some stuff going here and we're gonna get started. So with that, a little disorganized here, but that's okay because we have our Borderlands rifle that we're taking a look at, and here is our psycho mask. So we got that going on, and of course now I'm trying to get the tablet going, and there we go. So now we're getting this. Now we're getting online. Okay. So who do we got here? We got George. George is back. Welcome, George. So what we're ended up doing is kind of a look and see what we have with the Borderlands. This came out pretty good. Still need to do the final varnish coat on it, but it came out pretty good. Enjoying it. So yeah, this should turn out good. I had a little bit of a mess up there, but so I might have to fix that, but I don't know, not too bad. Not too bad. So we've got this, that is done for the most part as far as paint wise. And then we have the Borderlands rifle. So we've got that, and you can see what we ended up doing is taping this off, and instead of doing like a white, I decided to do some parts in black. Taped it off, spray painted, and then taped it off again and did the sand color again. So that way it's kind of similar to, so it ties in with all the other masks that I ended up doing. So like for that one there, and then the other Borderlands mask that I ended up making. So yeah, so that way they all tie in. And then of course I had the, and then of course I have the pistol that we ended up making. We printed that. I can't remember the site where I got this, but if you look for Borderlands pistol, you could probably find this on printables or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly. So we did that. And now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to put blue, cobalt blue, in these pieces here, in these areas here, the triangles. And so that way we can get a little bit of color into this, do it on this side as well. And then what we'll probably end up doing is like some silver or kind of like a lead belcher on this piece here. And then the rest of this, we'll just kind of do some other colors, but we're going to start off with the cobalt blue, and this is the cobalt blue that we're using here. So this is the Vallejo Premium Airbrush color, and we're going to be using that. And I also have a magazine for this that goes in this back part here. So we're going to play with that a little bit. And let's see, I guess we could end up just using our little thing here, our little silicone mat that turns out pretty good. And we're going to need a brush. So what kind of brush are we going to use? I'm going to try to, I think we'll use something, because we got to keep some lines on there. I don't know, something like this. Is it going to be okay? Okay, it's a little short. Let's do something a little bit bigger. Maybe something like that. Is that going to work? Really need to get some new brushes. So, and this is pretty ate up brush. So we'll end up, we'll just kind of make sure this is all mixed up. And ahead and get this going. So I thought about taping this off, but then I was like, you know what, that's going to be a pain in the butt to tape everything off on this for this here. And so I figured I'd just paint this in. We'll see how this turns out. And I wanted this to, again, this will kind of tie in with the other pieces, and it'll give it a little bit of color. And see if I can paint with my left hand, which I don't know. So we can do something like that. So that'll turn out okay, I think. So not bad. A little bit of, I wish it was orientated a little bit different, but because it's long, it causes a few problems. Because I gotta go in the, usually I would rotate this so that I could really draw a straight line. But see how this will work out. Not bad. I think it's good enough for government work. So much stuff on here I need to clean my desk is what it comes down to eventually. So part of me wanted to take this off, but I was like, I didn't want to spend that much time. And then I don't have painter's tape, I just got regular masking tape. And that stuff leaves marks and stuff like that, so I was like, I don't know if I wanted to use that. And I was trying to get this ready for the Halloween thing that they had last night. But it ends up there wasn't a lot of people there. And I was having a bad brain day. And so I just kind of wasn't feeling it. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. So it is what it is. So it is what it is. bit of a mistake right there. Doesn't really matter because what we'll end up doing is we're going to be distressing this anyway, so we can kind of hide that. The interesting thing about this is that this rifle is that I haven't seen anybody paint this. So it's kind of a color scheme is, it's not like a color scheme I can copy. So I just got to come up with my own thing. Just see how it goes. That's why I said I'm making a video.
Oh, goodness. I thought you said good morning. I'm not awake.
You're not awake.
Sorry.
Yep.
It's still not naked.
Yeah, good thing. That would be a bad thing. If there was a song that kind of summed up how I feel today, it would be Five Finger Death Punch. A little bit off today. Just a little bit off today. Matter of fact, yesterday as well. Except today is more. But oh well. So, you got to one side. That works out good. I think it looks good. Get some color in there. Like I said, we'll do some other colors. I'm not sure. Probably for like the bolt and some of these other pieces here, we'll do like either the black pearl with the Arteco paints. So the black pearl came out really good. And that actually, that was these pieces here. So I like the way that that came out. So we'll probably do the bolts and stuff like that in that color. Should be good to go. And we will start on this side. I end up you ever have one of those days where you just don't want to talk to anybody? Yeah, I'm having a few of those days. Those days where you, I mean, talking is one thing. I can talk on the videos, but I don't want to talk to people. And some people just suck the life out of you. that Five-Fingered Death Punch song. I'm a little bit off today. Can't put my finger on it. I know exactly. I can put my finger on that. I know for sure. Damn it. It's all thanks to the gift from Uncle Sam. PTSD. Gift that keeps on giving. Lean this up against the thing there. Yeah, I think this is better. Gotta love it. So when I have a bad brain day, that's what I refer to as my PTSD. And it is really a pain in the ass sometimes. Because I'll get to points where I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to talk with people. I don't want to have to listen to people. It's not that I don't care, but it's just, you just get to a point of where it's just like, I don't want to hear it. Especially when you got people who say they got problems with stuff that's could be a huge problem for them, but in the grand scheme of things, it ends up it's just their problems are like, I wish that was the only thing I had to deal with. And yet the same people that will say, oh, just be happy. Just turn that frown upside down. As if I could do that. As if, with PTSD, it's just something like you choose to turn on and turn off, So people don't understand that. George says a nice color blue. Yes, it is. I really like the cobalt blue. And I was going to do the weapon, the rifle here in like a titanium instead of sand. But then I was like, you know what? I wanted to tie in with the other masks, and all the other masks have sand. So I was like, you know what? Let's do the sand. We'll continue that. And we'll just work with that. Turns out pretty good. But yeah, I'm digging the cobalt blue. It is a good color. fair with the seeds there. I was just about to say sand color is going to match the masks beautifully. Yeah, it is definitely a color I like, and it does tie it in real well. And it saves me time by doing the spray paint thing instead of, hand painting. Because I thought, well, I'll hand paint everything, and then I was like, oh, hell no. I got spoiled by by doing spray paint on the helmets. And so I was doing that. And even though it takes some time to tape everything off for the spray paint, it's still quicker. So yeah, it turned out pretty good. Yeah, we're doing good. So yeah, turns out pretty good. I like that. Ah, damn it. Seriously. Son of a bitch. Screwed the pooch on that. Seriously. It's just not good. It's a little bit much on the it'd be kind of hard to cover that up. So I'll have to go back over that with some, we'll get a little bit of spray paint, spray it into a cup, and then we could do some touch up on it. That's what I get for not paying attention. But I think this turned out good. And I think we can end up doing, we can do a little bit of, we can do the silver on this part here. If I would just be careful. I think we could do this in black, we could do silver, have the wire and that in silver. Question is, what type of silver do we want to use? Because this silver is super, super shiny. So we could do this thing here. Maybe we could do like lead belcher for the end caps, and then we'll do the silver. I think that'll work. Now there's another brush down the drain. Let's try this one. So we got our blue, we're good to go. And we'll go on to the lead belcher. See if we can paint this without getting fingerprints. So lead belcher is the go-to paint. Really dig it. Maybe you should just do the whole thing in lead belcher. See if we can do some in silver. Silver wouldn't be bad. I mean, it would be a bright looking color. So you get some different colors. It should be good. Now I'm nervous about touching that blue. I think what I'll end up doing is that silver, because I think that'll be nice. That bright silver on the Arteco. I think that'll look pretty good, maybe. And then we could do the bright silver on these. I could do black on there because those are ports. Yeah, I'll probably do black on those. But I think this here we could end up just doing the it's just way in there. Yeah, so I think that'll look okay. I can do the other side as long as I don't So what else could we do in lead belcher? Could do like this top piece here and the bolt. We could do that. Just gotta be careful. Yep, this will look good. Okay. Gotta love the lead belcher. It is the color. Love it, love it. And we'll do some other metallic color for that way we get some, a little bit of different colors, a little bit of contrast, some complementary colors, close to lead belcher but not. I think we just had a couple mistakes on the painting of the sand. But we can overcome that. I'm going to try to make it to some Comic-Con this year. So I got to try to find some events in Korea, and hopefully I'll be able to show up and do some of that. So I think that would be good. I think what I'll end up doing is we'll do this in lead belcher as well. Seriously. These are expensive. $6.39 an ounce. Damn it. So I really need to do the Art Deco paint and use that, especially for larger stuff. Yeah, when you start looking at the price of paints, it's just kind of alarming on how much Army Painter charges. You know, the Art Deco paints, they're like 70 cents an ounce or 60 cents an ounce or something like that. And then the Army Painter paints, when you look at the price per ounce, it's like $6 and something, which is insane. So, yeah, I think it'll work. Okay, that'll work there. And since we have some, we could do these. And the good thing about these, dang it. Good thing about these, we can put some dots of the silver in there in the very center. Kind of give it a little bit of a, just a little bit of a detail. Another circle we could end up doing. Little one there. Not bad. I think that can work. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on this. Maybe I'll do like the outside in lead belcher, and then maybe the inside in like a brighter silver or maybe a green. I'm not sure. Let's do a little bit on here. temperature. Will we be able to get this last little piece done? No. I think so. Okay, so you got that. Let's see, what else can we do? I think make sure I'm not screwing anything up. So we're coming along nicely. Not too bad. Ferthus, a little while ago, said he's going for dinner, so enjoy your dinner if you haven't already gone. It is morning here. In fact, 9:04 in the morning on Sunday. Let's take a look at some of our other, because we have our silver that we got, which is really, really silvery. You have the black pearl black. And then we have bronze. Bronze could be a good color. Some of the other stuff. I think we're going to be good on that. We got some, I don't want pink. Bright pearl red. I don't think we're going to do that. There says, nope, still here, but on my way out. Gun looks sweet. Gonna weather it? Yes, of course I'm gonna weather it. Definitely gonna weather it. That way we can hide mistakes. And it'll tie in, the weathering will tie it into the other stuff as well, so definitely. Definitely. Let's see. Bronze could work. We could do bronze on like this piece here, and that'll kind of, let's see how that works. Brand new paint. Ooh, it already has a top off, okay. I don't have any paint mixing balls. I don't know how well this mixes up, because it's pretty thick. Yeah, it's just thick. That's pretty thick. You can see that there. Get that? Yeah. Do that, and now, because this thing is broken, this can be our, we can do a stirring stick, or we can use our 3D printed mixture Whoosy thing. Maybe that was too much water. No, that works. Kind of a nice looking bronze. I think that'll work out well. So, let's do bronze on these pieces here. See how this goes. Wow, that is a bright bronze. That is bright. Look at it. That's a lot of bronze. It is a lot of bronze. Hopefully that'll tie in with the sand color that we got going on. Kind of a good color. Good, pretty good. You gotta work. So what else do we got going on? Not much, really. George says it's looking really good. Yeah, I like the bronze. That turned out to be a good choice. I like it. Probably go back. I'll do that piece in black. I think that'll look better. Again, just a little bit of a detail. And the bronze, just try to tie in and complement the sand, kind of that warm color. Touch it up. Oh, well. Good enough. Nothing as exciting as watching paint dry, huh? Seriously. Stop touching the painted surfaces. You're not supposed to do that. For some strange reason. works. Not sure what we'll do on the top part here, but that'll be a different color, I think. So. Seriously. Start seeing the handshake, you're like, damn it. That'll be good. Some other color here. We might even do this in bronze as well, or maybe black. Do this in black, we'll do this in black, and do a little touch up there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on that. Is there anything else I want to do bronze? I guess I could do the front here in bronze. Sure, why not? Let's do that. And if it doesn't look good, then we can always just go back and paint over it. I thought about doing this cable in blue as well, which is still an option. It's doing okay. bad. Hide that a little bit with some distressing. Not too bad. A little bit of going over, but not too bad. That looks good, I think. Make sure I'm not touching anything I'm not supposed to. You know, it's funny. I had a picture on social media for the one of the helmets and the pistol, and my finger was on the trigger on the pistol as I was doing the photograph, which I intentionally did, and people ragged on me for it. That's not how you're supposed to have proper gun safety. I was like, it's a video guy, and a guy that's psycho, crazy, always kind of pointing weapons at his own face, and mimicking that he's pointing guns at his own face. And it's like, so I did that for the photo. People got all butthurt about it. That's not proper trigger discipline. And it's like, yeah, it's a video game. So I thought that was funny. People getting butthurt. turns out good. There's a little bit left. I was thinking about maybe doing these. I think I'll do something like these in silver or something. But I think since we're out of the bronze, I think we're at a good stopping place. So yeah, it turned out good. Not bad. Not bad at all. So we're gonna just go ahead and let this dry. I'll clean everything up. I'll let this be good. I'm gonna get some breakfast because I'm starving. It's 9:30. I had my latte already, but man, I'm hungry. So that's what we've got going on. We'll come back, and some of the other things we'll end up doing is we gotta color this up here, and then of course that back piece decal there. We'll do some of the other silver highlights. Probably do some black pearl on like the trigger or silver, something to kind of set that, get some contrast. Let's see, it's looking good. How about the color for you use for the bolts? Yeah, that the black pearl is what I used, or pearl black is what I used for the bolts on the helmet. That came out really nice, and it's kind of a darker than the lead belcher, so I think that'll come out really well. But yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So yeah, great minds think alike. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Sorry I wasn't too talkative today. Like I said, just not having a real good brain day. So it is what it is. So hopefully I get better today. Got some medication and stuff like that, but sometimes it doesn't work as well as I would want it to do all the time. So let's transfer back over. It won't move everything. Try not to knock stuff over here. And we will get back to the desk. So we're back to the desk. What did we end up doing today? What did we do? We did this stuff here. So if I can find the Borderlands Uzi thing there. I'll make this smaller. So that's what we ended up doing today. Doing a little bit of colorization on the Borderlands rifle, which I haven't seen anybody paint. So that's going to come into play because even on the Borderlands page, it ends up we don't see anybody, we don't see any paintings of it. People printed it out. Let's take a look here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here is the Borderlands, and also on this Borderlands one, they have the helmet and stuff like that. But let's just go to the main page, and I'll just throw the. We'll copy that, and we'll come down here. Printables. Borderlands stuff. Free stuff. So there it is for that. And so for this rifle here, it turns out it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks good. I did a little bit of an adjustment on it. Added some stuff. But when you come down here to makes, so there it is. Somebody printed it out there, but didn't really paint it. There's somebody else printed it out. It's in black and white. Okay, that's not it, but that's a good color scheme. I like that as well. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see, I didn't even see that before. So that's kind of interesting color scheme. But other than that, nobody has fully painted it. So it'll be interesting to see how mine turns out. And then we'll throw the picture of that and the make on that as well. So George says that my friend in Florida printed out Steve McQueen's mare's leg recently. It is beautiful. Wow. That would be cool to see. Always good stuff and being able to print stuff out. They did have another rifle on here, which this one here, the Borderlands 4. That is a big, big rifle. If you look at that, that is huge. I thought about doing that one, but I thought I was going to be on a time crunch, and I was in a time crunch. And the thing is here, I don't know how many people printed that out. The guy down here says, I printed out, took 81 hours and 2.8 kilograms to print. Parts came out perfect. Assembly sometimes tricky since not all the parts keyed in CA glue with activator gave you only a split second to line them up. Ended up using the activator after holding them in place. But that is kind of wild. And you see kind of the, wow, that would be a really detailed print, wouldn't it? To do all that and then to do justice with that, that would be wild. So yeah, that would be an interesting one. But that's a big, big print. Some guy says this model is pretty cool, but ultimately non-functional to be carried or used as a prop. The front and rear halves of the gun are joined by two very flimsy connection points. Probably actually need to drill holes and connect the parts with plastic screws or bolts and threaded inserts. There's no way glue will suffice to hold the two halves together. But it looks pretty cool though. That's true. I mean, you look at that and the connections on that are, I mean, the front is good until you get to here. Yeah, you'd have to do some pretty, I don't know. I saw it and I was like, I kind of like it, but then I kind of don't. So that's why I went for the other one. So that'll be kind of an interesting little project, is to finish this up and do that. Still, again, just kind of having fun with this, enjoying it, and yeah, it see there turned out pretty good. And by the time we add some other colors, we do the sight on it, the rifle sight and whatever, and then I think that'll come out pretty cool. And get the bolts, like the bolts with that pearl black, like George was saying, that'll come out really good. Or even if it's black, we could just get the silver and dry brush it on. That turned out really well. George says, looks a little complicated. Yeah, a little complicated. A little bit too busy, in my opinion. That's why I didn't want to go for that, because that's just way too busy. I mean, take a look at that. That is a very busy rifle. It is very busy. There's a lot of busyness going on. So, yeah, the point up there, yeah, it just it seems kind of flimsy. Front heavy, flimsy. And look at all the parts for that beast. Holy crow. So many small parts on there to where those would connect up together. It's just like there. Maybe that would be okay because that kind of fits into there. But real small connection points on there. Yeah, it didn't really fill me with a lot of confidence. So I was like, yeah, let's just go back with the other rifle. So yeah. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Borderlands Rifle Paint job, Cobalt Blue to the rescue always, and then we ended up doing bronze. We threw some bronze on there that came out really well. Cobalt Blue you can't go wrong with, and then we also did lead belcher for like the bolt and things like that. Could have continued on and did lead belcher in the trigger and a couple other things. But yeah, that I really need to get away from that lead belcher because it is so expensive of a paint. I want to save those for miniatures. But I haven't painted a miniature in a minute, so doing some larger stuff and got into 3D printing, FDM printing or FFF printing. Did you hear the story behind that? Everybody used to say FDM printing, and then supposedly some company trademark FDM and threatened to sue people if they used an acronym. And so now, like when you go to Creality Cloud and you upload a model, it'll say, is it FFF printing or is it resin printing? So people had to come up with a different word because some company came along and trademarked the word FDM or whatever. So I thought that was kind of a dick move. It's kind of a dick move. So that's what we got going on. Other stuff we're thinking about, possibly getting another 3D printer. I don't know, maybe. Still interested in doing laser engraving, but I don't know. But if I definitely do the large size Hulk and then eventually get back to, after this stuff here, get back to printing the Eternal Slayer, the Doom Eternal Slayer. I've got the helmet for that, and I haven't touched that forever and a day because I got onto this and had those squirrel moments of doing other stuff. So it's like, well, I'll see how that goes. And yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Nothing too exciting going on. Sunday, chilling out. I think we'll go hit La Paine, which is a place right across the street from the apartments we live in. It's got real good American-style breakfast, scrambled eggs, sausage, French toast, so stuff like that, and get a latte. They do pretty good latte. Not as good as mine, but they do pretty good. So I can recommend them. And it's the owners there is pretty nice. Staff are nice, and we're regulars there. So yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, that's what we get into. George pops in and says what he might get into Gundam prints after Christmas. Matter of fact, I do have that Gundam massive thing that I need to do that I've been putting off, that after I get this stuff done here, maybe I'll start doing a separate day where I do that, because this one is going to be a big one. And it was like, go big or go home, but there's a hell of a lot of pieces in this thing. Good Lord. I thought the pieces would be, I thought it was a big thing, which it is a big thing. It's for like ages 15 and up, and I'm like, good Lord, I'm already out of my league. Bandai, Aegis, Zaft, Mobile, GAT, X303. And this thing, good Lord, look at that thing. And it's big, but I thought surely bigger would mean bigger parts, but at least you don't have to paint it. But look at some of these parts. Look at some of those. There are so many parts on this thing. This is insane. And it gets worse. So there's 2 sprues there with all those parts. And then we still have this one here. And then we've got this one, which has got 3 sprues with a ton of parts. That is insane. I mean, crazy. And the instructions on this thing are like, take a gander at that. Good Lord. That is crazy. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. So, yeah, the Gundam, Gunpla, whatever this is, Aegis Gundam. I'll probably just do one of these, which will be this one here. So, yeah, we got that. Adam Sivek comes on. Welcome to the show. He says, I have seen so many people dropping $300 on Warhammer to play casually. You might as well as get one-page rules for free. It's good, then you just collect, but bad when you try to play the game. Yeah. And that's what got me interested into painting miniatures, because I needed something to do besides going to the gym and being retired here in Korea. I need some kind of hobby. I gotta stay busy. And so I saw the Warhammer stuff, and so with my military background, blowing up stuff and all that fun stuff, I don't do that. So the Warhammer appealed to me, and I was like, I remember this back in the day because it was a long time ago I heard about Warhammer, and I joined the military. And I never heard of it after that because I was doing adult stuff. So, but yeah, the prices on Warhammer is literally insane. And I couldn't believe it. I got a first little starter kit, and then, Games Workshop just keeps increasing their prices for... It's a plastic model. Good Lord. I understand you need to make profit and so on and so forth, but it is price gouging is what it comes down to. And then because of that, I got into 3D printing, resin printing, to print out Warhammer stuff that people had made. And then Games Workshop started suing people, modelers who made their own Warhammer figures. And I'm like, that's just kind of a dick move as well, in my opinion. Imagine if Star Wars sued everybody that started making costumes and started doing fan fiction of Star Wars and fan fiction of their own, TV series, movies, little movies or animations and stuff like that. Imagine if Star Wars sued those people. Star Wars wouldn't be as big today as what it is if George Lucas went that route, or if Disney continued to go the route. But Disney just ruined Star Wars anyway, so we won't even get into that. But the best way to alienate your fan base is to sue content creators and modelers that are essentially giving you free content. So, yeah, it is just, it is crazy. But yeah, the Warhammer stuff is absolutely insane. And the one-page rules, I would like to try that. Because, yeah, it is free. And I've never played that before, or Warhammer, so that would be kind of interesting. So I got to really kind of look and see if there's people that do one-page rules here, because I have no clue on how to do it. So anyway, George says, in regards to Gunpla, don't let it fool you. There's still painting to be done. No. Let me say that again. Let me say that again so you get it. No. I don't know if I'll do that, but wow, yeah, I couldn't imagine painting that stuff. I mean, that is huge. I mean, it's big. But yeah, you can see it's not painted there. I mean, yeah, you could paint it. You could distress. By looking on this, you could distress it, you could do edge highlighting, you could do all the stuff that you do with miniatures and, Warhammer figures and all that stuff, one-page rules figures, which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, you could really go intense on that, but that's intense in itself right there. Just going to be able to put that together. I don't know if my brain is going to let me focus that long, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see. George says Disney will try soon. Yeah, they're just kind of crashing out the Star Wars brand. It just kind of steadily went down. I heard rumors that George Lucas is going to wants to get back on board or something like that. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. Adam says, definitely recommend Morg Borg and Dungeons and Dragons Piazzo and Mantic Games. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Morg Borg. Let's see what pops up with that. Oh, okay, Morg Borg. And then Dungeons and D&D Pazzo. And then what was the other one? And Mantic Games. So let's see what we get up here. Because I've never heard of those. I mean, I've heard of D&D. I remember playing D&D back, like when it first came out in like the late 70s, early 80s, I think it was, is when I played, like 1980, somewhere around there. Mantic isn't coming up. Let's see what we got here. Take a look. There is the Morg Board. Buy the game. Give me content. Okay. Bare Bones Edition. Mork Borg. Okay. So it's kind of like a Morkborg is a pitch-black apocalyptic fantasy RPG about lost souls and fools seeking redemption, forgiveness, or the last remaining riches in the bleak and dying world. Okay, sounds interesting. And then Paizo. So it's kind of like another Dungeons and Dragons fantasy type thing that we got going. And I haven't played D&D forever and a day. Huh, okay. And then the Mantic, that's not popping up. I think the reason that's not popping up is because of, I got a VPN that I use. So, cool. Yeah, I'll check into that and see what happens. The bad part about being retired here in Korea and being an American expat is not a lot of American gamers here, and I do live close to a U.S. military base, which is the largest military overseas base, largest U.S. military base overseas in the world. And there are some people that play games, but it's more like a lot of people do the card game with the, I don't forget the name of the title of the game or whatever. What is it? It's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember the game. The Gathering, Magic the Gathering. So a lot of people do that. A lot of people do the Pokemon stuff, and that's not really a thing. We got greetings, Steve. Pleasure to see you again. Your collection is quite impressive. You may require additional space or storage to accommodate your extensive collection. I know. There it is. We're building more stuff and painting more stuff, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have to have shelves, from floor to ceiling, which I kind of got over here. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Adams pops up. The card game Magic the Gathering. I never really got into that. I think I would like to give one-page rules a try. And Lorcana, there's that. But there's so many of those card games popping up. It used to be just Magic the Gathering and a bunch of geeks and whatever. But now those card games or that style of play has really branched out. Matter of fact, in the on the military base, they have like little kiosks and people sell stuff. But they have like Star Wars. They have got a bunch of other, that would be considered mainstream games that are now these card games as well. So, but I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to do the one-page rules and learn how to play that. That would be interesting. So, on top of all the other things that I want to do. So, besides the Gunpla, which will take forever and a day to get that built. But cool. Thanks, Adam, for the info on that other stuff. So we'll definitely take a look at that and see how that goes. So, yeah, interesting stuff. I think that would be good. Adam says, with Morgborg, you can download the entire game for free. Cool, cool. And the Morgborg, it ends up saying, let's make it bigger, is a complete game in the OSR genre. OSR? I hate it when people use that acronyms and they don't tell you, the first time you use the acronym, tell you what it means. Can be played as is or picked apart for use in your own homebrew. The rules are easily compatible with most of the edition of the world's largest role-playing games. Within the book, you find The Dying World, the two-headed basilisk Gothic cathedral in Gallenbeck, and Blood Countess Athelia's limestone palace, to the fields of death in Graventosk and the barren wastes of Kirkus. World's demise, 20 occult powers, you can bend reality, magic, blah. Optional rules, omens, bad luck into slightly better, classes, unique traits, quirks, 12 creatures to be murdered by, game master tools, tables, all that other stuff. Interesting. So I'll have to take a look at that and see how all that comes into play. So, but yeah, cool, good stuff. And I think the one-page rules, I think that's free as well for the basic game, and they've got different versions of that stuff, if I'm not mistaken. If we take a look at this, so they have Grimdark for Future, same thing, Firefight, Star Quest, War Fleets, Age Fantasy, Skirmish, Regiment's Quest. So they've got the Grimdark Future, it's kind of like the Warhammer 40K, 30 to 50 models needed. Holy crap, free starter set. So what is that is Future, Star Quest, 12 to 15 models, so that's more doable. So I guess that's like a starting thing. And then you got the rules, print friendly. I need to look up some videos on YouTube and see. I'm sure people play it. War Fleets, what is that? Oh, that's kind of like a space, Star Wars, Star Trek. Build your fleet, fly, whatever. What else do they got? Age of Fantasy. To more of the fantasy realm, kind of like D&D stuff. Okay, got that. Skirmish, 10 to 15 models. Okay, so I see. And Adam says, with this game, you don't need a game store to play. You can organize your own game. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, kind of like D&D. Once you get the base books and everything, you can just run anything the way that you want. Whereas with like Warhammer and stuff, for the people that don't know about that, the Warhammer, you can play on your own. From what I've seen, mostly it's at game stores, and then you have to have the official models, and you have to have updated game books, which cost money, that are severely expensive. And then you can't use your own models. With one-page rules, you can make whatever models you want. Hell, you could use paper. They got paper printed ones that you could print out and play. So you could use whatever you want, chess pieces, and so it's a pretty flexible, free game. I think they do have, they got STL prints. What do they got up on here? So on the shop, they got their Patreon. You can buy STLs, pre-printed minis, rule books, paper minis, miniatures, merch. How much is there? Oh, okay. My Mini Factory. Sci-fi bundles. Let's see what those come out to. Holy crow. Army Bundle 3, 86, 82. Of course, if you belong to their Patreon, it would be less. But you're not relegated that you must have these. But, wow. Interesting. That'd be a lot of resin printing. Holy crow. And then painting, more painting. So you got aliens, dwarves, D&D, fantasy, blessed sisters, saurians, war demons, jackals, robot legions. Interesting. Army bundle. Let's take a look at some of this. So it's kind of like a... Okay, it's not too bad. That's pretty cool. The painting on that would be wild. To paint all those. Oh, you'd have to do something like, I don't know, speed painting to really... Wow, that would be a lot of painting. Holy crow. That would be a lot of painting. I mean, cool figures, that's for sure. But good Lord, could you imagine painting that stuff? I mean, this whole thing. Had to paint all of that. Holy crow, that would be... you'd have to be dedicated to do that. But cool. Yeah. Good stuff. So yeah, one-page rules is kind of like a D&D, Warhammer-ish type of, I guess, company that allows you to play and you don't have to buy super expensive stuff. In other words, it's more centered on getting people into the gameplay and not being so strict as Games Workshop and, you know, the Warhammer stuff and suing their fan base and, you know, whatever. And yeah, it's just crazy. And then they change their lore and whatever. There was a big thing on the Warhammer lore and changing and, you know, to get with the times and getting with the message of DEI and you have to represent everybody and whatever. And it's like, I remember back in the day where it was like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, you would play and it didn't matter your sexual orientation. It was like, if you thought your players were LGBTQ, even before that was even considered a thing, no one really cared because it was about the story. And if you thought they were, it didn't really matter. But then you didn't advertise it either. You just played the game and had fun. So, yeah, I didn't really. I'm from that era. Do what you want to do, and if you want to paint them rainbow colors, that's absolutely fun and fine. But let's play the game and have some fun. So, yeah. But some people, I don't know. It is what it is. When you make that everything, then you lose the fun of the game itself or the fun of the movie or the story of the show or the movie or whatever, because you're trying to push an agenda versus a good story, which it is what it is. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Painting up the rifle, we did that, as you can see there. Yeah, we're getting a little bit closer. The bronze looks good. Kind of tied that in with the helmets and everything. And yeah, that'll be interesting. Adam pops in and says the Crusade program they offer is awful. All you get is imagery upgrades, not worth the money. Oh, talking about the Games Workshop? Is that what you're talking about? Or the one-page rules? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people complain about Games Workshop and how they update their rule books. And of course, the more rule books you make, the more you have to buy, and that's how they make more money. And now I think they went public, didn't they? And now they have shareholders that they're responsible to, and so they're trying to squeeze out every drop of blood that they can get out of their fan base and people that play the game, and so they make decisions that are not conducive as to how fun it was way back when, before they had their corporation and shareholders and so on and so forth. So they kind of lost a little bit. Yeah, Adam says the Game Workshop. That's what I thought it was. So yeah. Yeah, a lot of the stuff is just, and especially if you play at the game stores, you can't bring your own figures. You can't do your own models. You have to use theirs, the official ones. And of course, there are tournaments and stuff like that. I can understand that. But there should be some flexibility. And I really thought Games Workshop really shot themselves in the foot, because when I got into resin printing and printing out different models and figures and so on and so forth, and then that's how I learned how to paint figures, I thought Games Workshop is they have two options. Either they can get on the train and they can sell STL files to people so they could print them out on their own, have official STL files, and you could have a different faction or different type of tournament or subcategory within a tournament that you can play with the resin printed miniatures that are official from Games Workshop. And yeah, you could pay some money, and you'd probably pay a little bit more than you would than getting them for free from other content creators. But that would have really broadened their customer base. But when they decided not to do that, and they decided to sue everybody and their grandmother, anybody who made a model that looked close to Warhammer, even if there was people that got sued and their accounts frozen on like printables or whatever other sites, that they ended up, just because they used certain buzzwords, Warhammer, they ended up suing those people, cease and desist, the whole 9 yards. And it's like you're getting free advertising out of it. So they either could have embraced the STL 3D resin printing and incorporated that, and they would have opened up their fan base even more, but they didn't. They went the opposite route. And when you spank your fan base, some of your fans don't like that. So they lost a lot there. Adam says, back then, most of the tournaments were ruled by fans, someone's garage or someone's house, no representatives. Yeah. So they really did. I can understand how, it's good to make money and they have to do that, but I think they just went too far on the other extreme. And when you start suing content creators, when you start suing people that are modelers, they can't use them in your tournaments anyway. So why are you? Yes, I get it. Technically, it's IP infringement, but again, the greatest way to grow your fan base is to kind of do what Star Wars did and let people just run with it and go. And if they want, then you'll still have a solid fan base that will do the tournaments with the official products and so on and so forth. But you want to appeal to a larger audience and draw them into that ecosystem and say, hey, you got these and blah, blah, blah. If you want to take it to the next level, we have our STLs that you can print out, official STL files. And then if you want to go to the highest level, the pinnacle of Games Workshop, then you go to the tournaments. Of course, you have to buy their models that are super crazy expensive. They keep going up every year. I mean, it's insane. I think I ended up buying like 4 or 5, and it was like $60 for tiny little 30 millimeter figures. I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to do that. So I think they went to the dark side. If you get that reference to Star Wars, they went to the dark side. So yeah, Game Workshop is kind of like dead to me. I won't play Games Workshop or Warhammer unless they do some major changes. But that's why the one-page rules, that's why that is appealing to me. And of course, like Adam pointed out, there's so many different game companies that have started up and doing their own thing because Games Workshop ended up being a dick. So people are going to play, and they're going to make up their own games, their own figures, and they're going to welcome in the people that Games Workshop has rejected and alienated and sued in some cases. I saw one there, a guy was getting sued by Games Workshop because they used, it was like a miniature holder, and they used the word like Warhammer and something else. So in other words, the algorithm scoured the interwebs, found that this guy was selling a 3D printed, miniature holder so you could hold it and paint your miniature, and they ended up getting sued. And yeah, it's just crazy. And there was no IP infringement. So I just think it was the wrong way to go. So anyway, and since I'm starving, we're going to close this out. So yeah, we did some painting on the rifle. We'll continue on. We'll do some more videos on that. I'm trying to get my butt out of the funk I'm in. And is that even going to pop up? Seriously? No, that's it. I'm trying to put together a video, do some video editing. I fell behind on that as well. And so, and I'll actually show you how far I've gotten on that. And trying to get to the Borderlands painting thing that I ended up doing. So here is that. And I've been working on, I've got like the intro, and then you can end up seeing, of course it's not going to go, basically how I did the Borderlands mask and how I painted that. And so far it's coming out to about 30 minutes. And let's see, what do we end up doing? So just going through, but I'm having a hell of a time trying to, and the total paint time for this helmet ended up, for this mask, was like 4 hours, and yeah, that's kind of a long video. And we get towards the end here. And just, I'm still not done editing this, but it kind of shows what's going on and how it's progressed over time. 4 hours and 27 minutes, and that's not counting the drying time and stuff like that. So, and then, oh yeah, this was the, that was the picture that I posted on social media that people got butthurt about. And just like, oh, your finger's on the trigger. Oh, people freaking out. It was like, chill out. Just let it go. Come on, Francis. Yeah, it was just so hilarious. So anyway, and then I still need to do the last little part of where I'll show, and eventually what I want to end up doing is showing the helmet, the pistol, or the mask, my mask, the wife's mask, the pistol, and when I get the rifle done, and of course, I'll probably even throw in the Galactic Armory helmet that I showed you all. So it just turned out pretty good. It is. This has turned out well. So, yeah, this is all ready to get varnished and everything, and you know, we got like rust on there, and that this one's turned out pretty good. So yeah. The whole 9 yards. But yeah, this turned out pretty good. So that'll be the closing for the video. So I got to finish up the rifle, and then when I finish up the rifle, then I'll do the last bit of footage with this and all the other stuff. And yeah, but right now we're sitting at like 30 minutes for the video there. Yeah, we're like 30 minutes. I don't know if I want to make that all one video. I'll probably, I don't know, maybe I will. I'll just do a long form video and just call it good, and should be good to go. Because I don't really, I'm getting tired, and, you know, having to do the editing and make it into like 3 different 10-minute videos. I guess I could do that too. It wouldn't be too hard. I'm just getting kind of burnt. So we'll see how that goes. But that's what I got. So anyway, the best thing that you could do for me is to like and subscribe to the channel. That would be the best thing that you could end up doing. And we're going to have to close this out. And I know some of you are going to be saying, No. Wait. Nope, we got to close this out. So as much as I want to stay and you want me to stay, I got to get some food. You guys have lives and stuff like that. If you want to contact me, there's the email address. I answer all my emails, so show me pictures of stuff that you do or games that you're into or whatever it is, just to say hi. That would be pretty cool. You can contact me there. You can buy me a coffee, link in the description box. These people over here bought me coffee, but the very best thing that you could do, don't worry about the coffee, just like and subscribe to the channel. That would be the absolute best thing that you could do. So if you take a few seconds, like, subscribe, bell, ring, ding, all of that. That would appease the YouTube gods and the algorithm, and give me something to do. You know, some type of goal to attain. That's what I want to try to end up doing. Eventually, I'd like to get a YouTube plaque that says, 100,000 subscribers. I got like just over 5,100, so or 51,000. So yeah, the 100,000 would be cool. So I would appreciate it if you do that. So anyway, for Adam and everybody else, George, Ferrithus, who else did we ended up getting? We had a number of people on here. I'm trying to scroll through. Where is that? Yeah, Ferrithus was there. Nefertum, he was there. Matter of fact, he says timely placement of the mask coinciding with Halloween is commendable. Yeah, I'm trying. Sometimes things line up, sometimes they don't, but that's worth a like on a video, I think. But anyway, yeah, we're just going to continue on having some fun stuff as we're retired here in Korea and kind of jumping into all this stuff. And yeah, eventually, I think it'd be fun to do some role-playing games, one-page rules, learn how to do that, or at least see it. I'll have to check out YouTube. But if you have any thoughts, opinions, or just want to say hi, contact me at the email. And I got to get some breakfast now because I'm starving. So with that being said, we will see you on the next video. Peace. So hungry.